Hello and welcome to Mediumship Matters with me, Hannah Macintyre. How are you doing? I wanted to start today by a little request, please. If you could, if you haven't already, leave a review for my podcast and pop onto my socials and share it, or take a screenshot of it on your device right now and share it in your story. It would really, really help me with getting the podcast out there. It's slowing down considerably. And I know that's because there's a lot of wonderful podcasts out there, which is a fantastic thing for everybody. But I could really do with your help in getting it in front of as many listeners as possible. So thank you very much for that. The other thing that I would like to draw your attention to is that in September, I have 2 new online courses starting with me. These are live courses, so interactive. I will be talking to you for a maximum of 20 attendees each. There is one for mediumship, so evidential loved one in spirit connections, and there is one for learning to connect to spirit guides. They are both in the evenings, UK time, so hopefully that opens most of you up time zone wise, not everybody, I know. And if you'd like to find out more about either of those, please pop onto my website, hannahmedium.co.uk, and there's a big multicoloured button that you should see at the top of the first page, which will send you directly through to give you the information on those. But I would love to have you there. So there we go, there's that bit of sort of housekeeping going. Now, as you can hear, I'm still not very well. It's now 8 days of testing positive for COVID, which is irritating. And as always, when I'm put in a situation like this by the universe, it makes me realise how much I hate surrendering, how much I hate slowing down, how much I feel like I've been put on the naughty step, even though I know I haven't. And I know that some things are inevitable. And Spirit, obviously, as I said in the last podcast, knew that this was going to happen because they've given me a quiet couple of weeks for it. So it's quite interesting, but it is frustrating. And they're still inspiring me and talking to me, and I'm still coming up with ideas. And yeah, it's just not fun. So I'm watching lots and lots of TV and playing my version of Theme Hospital, which I used to love back in the 90s. So that's passing time and just waiting to feel strong. It's very frustrating feeling this week. So a couple of things that I wanted to explore with you guys today. Still working through those emails. So let me get up the email from Kim. Hi Hannah. I've been thinking about a couple of things that have come up a few times in your podcast, and I'm wondering if I've found a glitch in the matrix. Yikes. So I totally agree with you that destiny is in your own hands. Fortune telling can only give you pointers on your potential, not what is or is not going to happen. I'm getting my head around time not existing, that it's a human construct, that time is not linear, that's just the way we as humans make sense of it. All that has been and will ever be is contained in now. Mind-blowing stuff. However, if time doesn't exist and everything that has ever happened and everything that will ever happen is happening simultaneously, in that case, surely everything is predetermined because it has already happened. So we feel like we have a choice, but in actual fact, we're playing out what has already happened. What's going on? I'm going to be watching Sliding Doors on repeat until I can work this out. Sending so much gratitude for your amazing podcast, and I hope you can help me unbend my mind on this. Kim. I'm not sure that I can, Kim, in honesty. As I have said, sometimes I think that I understand it and I've got my head around it, and then a little puff of smoke out of my left nostril, and still haven't got any further of it. But I don't honestly know, and I've been thinking recently about if we do really have a choice. And surely somewhere, if we take the idea, the theory that our soul experiences the outcome of every single one of our choices, then there is no choice. It's just which version of our soul is experiencing which answer of the choice that we make here. So, although I do honestly believe in free will, and I'm sure that you can think of times when you have decided to take the higher ground, decided to give somebody the benefit of the doubt, decided to be less reactive and calmer and stronger and stiller in your approach. And you have been able to see the benefit of that afterwards. So therefore, we did have a choice in that moment. We could have gone with our programming, we could have gone with our human, and we chose to go with a slightly higher vibrational path, and we should be able to see the benefits of that. Do I think that somewhere in the universe there is another version of you experiencing the less high vibrational way? Maybe, because I think that's probably how we can see the impact of it, but equally not every time, because we are evolving and we are growing. And if we were to take away the consequence of choice in that, then we wouldn't feel or experience the benefit of that growth. So therefore, what would the point be? I don't know, in absolute honesty, Kim, and I'm probably not in a place where my brain can cope with it. But it's just fascinating to think about. But I do feel, for me, the entire theory, even if I'm not really eloquent enough at explaining it to you guys the way that I would perhaps like to, for me, it's always an empowering theory. It's always that we feel the benefit, that we can make that choice in the moment, and that choice in the moment can have a massive impact on the rest of our lives. Simple things. Simple little choices on a Monday morning at 9 and trying a different way or having a different approach can completely change the rest of your life in its interactions and the way that it all works together. And equally, making the wrong choice doesn't mean, oh God, I have to say, I do believe, and it may sound twee, but I do believe that it's only the positive things that have the power to keep on changing. You can only go up in vibration and learning. You can't go down in it. So if you make a bad decision on a Monday morning at 9 a.m, that doesn't mean you've then got a lifetime of crap to deal with. It means as soon as you decide to change that momentum and shift it and change that frequency and work in a more enlightened state, your energy and your experience on earth will respond to that. On the flip side, I do think if you make good choices, they keep on going. Does that make sense? Do I need some more medication? Am I just waffling absolute poppycock out into the ether? I could well be. But I hope that makes sense. So I know as humans, it's very easy to think, well, that's it now, I fucked it. There's nothing I can do. It's all screwed. Dang nabbit, it's ruined. And I meet a lot of people that have that attitude. And I used to have that attitude. It was about making the best of where I was at, which was very negative and very poor me. And now when I look back, I can see how it was me choosing that. It was me getting out of bed every day and making those choices that led me even further down that path. Not taking time to enjoy the good things. I mean, we talk about the attitude of gratitude. I've talked about it on here before, but that is so transformational in your life. Taking the time to put your phone down and looking at the sky and the clouds. Taking the time to turn off the TV and stroke your pet and stare into their eyes. Taking the time to message somebody that you haven't heard from for a while just to check in and see how they are. These things are all really good vibrational things that will help you to feel better and more positive. And it's hard when we're stuck in a rut, but I do honestly believe with the exception of the exceptions, which of course there are some, in a general day-to-day experience here on earth, not the big stuff, the general day-to-day, we choose how we respond to that, and that does impact the rest of our lives. And so all you have is this moment right now and your choice in that moment, how you respond, and that then creates the path ahead. So it's not that, even though there is no time, there is only now. The future is not created yet. So therefore it's up to you and how you respond in this moment that creates the future that you will then experience, I think. Anyway, if anyone else can be more succinct, clearer, and can explain this to Kim and make sense of it a bit better, please do get in touch, because I'm not sure I've done the best job on that, but hopefully that made a little bit of sense. Okay, another email that I've had here from Abigail Lark. Hi Hannah, lately I have asked my brother, who has passed over, to leave me a red sock, and within 3 months he did. I was so pleased. But after a while I wondered if it was the universe responding rather than him. So how can you tell the difference between accidentally manifesting and loved ones responding? Well, Abigail, there is no difference. And the reason why there is no difference is because when we pass, we become part of the one. And the one is every soul that has ever lived and every soul that ever will live. It's God, it's the angels, it's everything combined with no separation. And so when the spirit world come to communicate with us and our loved ones come to communicate with us, they will take the form of that individual so that we can feel in our human state that personalized love. But from a spiritual state, there is no difference between the universe and source and us. And some people love that, and some people find that upsetting. And it doesn't mean that your brother isn't your brother anymore. It's they keep showing me drops and the sea. It's like each individual drop of water, every molecule of water in the sea is an individual molecule, but it still forms the mass that is the sea. And so when you move into spirit, because your consciousness is so expanded, you connect with every spirit that has ever been and every spirit that ever will be. But I still feel that we have those personal connections with our soul group and those people that we know and that we love, but we experience that through the oneness, and they are experiencing it through the oneness. So whether you manifest something from the universe, the oneness that is your brother and is every spirit and is God and is source, or whether you experience and manifest that sock through your brother as an individual, he's spirit and there is no separation. But that doesn't mean he's not with you. Wow, I picked really deep questions today, didn't I, for a podcast where I'm not on full steam. I hope that I've managed to make that make sense. It's really, really hard, isn't it? I think in a way it's too hard for us to completely comprehend in our human physical state. And this is what I've mentioned before on this podcast, that sometimes we have to accept where we're at, and we're not here to be spirit and understand it all fully and integrate it all fully. We're here to have this physical experience in these dense, solid bodies, well, squishy solid, mine is, but you know what I mean. And we're here to be in this physical because we get to experience the lessons and the things that we need to learn. We get to experience the physicality of creating and manifesting and being, and the beauty and the wonder of this physical world in which we live. I think is a massive draw for the spirit world, to actually come and experience it through physical eyes. Equally, I don't know what I was talking about. I'm really not good today, am I? Equally, I think there is so much more to understand than we can possibly comprehend. And so the balance is always trying to find your way, to just accepting what you can understand and letting go of what you can't for now, and understanding that the universe, the spirit world, your loved ones, they've heard your questions. They know you're seeking the answers, and they will bring the answers to you if they can. But for some questions, we're just not in a space where we can understand the answers fully. And the reason I'm saying it like that is because it's comforting to have your loved ones and think of your loved ones in the spirit world as individuals, isn't it? I call on my grandparents. I don't just ask for any old spirit. I ask for my grandparents to come in and be with me and love me and give me the guidance that I need, or the support that I need, or the comfort that I need. I think my human here is resisting the message from the spirit world. That's what's happening. My human is going, but actually I have to accept that on the other flip side, I do understand the spirit world, and I do understand that there is no separation. There is only the oneness. There's lots of near-death experiences that you can look at, that people who talk about near-death experiences, where they have a moment where they experience that all that ever else and all that ever will be, that connection to the one, and they feel themselves expanding and then contracting back into the individual for their physical life here. And I think that's what it's like. And that's why I don't believe that your loved ones in spirit have gone anywhere. They haven't gone anywhere. They are everywhere, and they are part of everything. And you still are as well, just in this physical casing. We can't experience it like that. So it is your brother, Abigail, but it's also everybody, every spirit that's ever lived. And that includes the old lady down the road who was really cantankerous and nobody really liked. It includes the good and the bad, because there is no good or bad. That is just a human perception of it. There is only the soul and the experience and the choices. And we all go to the same place, and we all become part of the same thing. And I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but it's been very interesting for me, my journey with spirit guides, for that, because I don't experience my spirit guides as individuals anymore. I found one of the pictures I drew the other day where I could draw them all, not very well I have to say, but draw them all individually and understand their individual characteristics. And now when I communicate with them, they're just the one. They're just an energy, a presence, all encompassing. I don't go, oh, it's this one or that one, or this one or that one. It's just spirit. And it's taken me a long time to get there, to be able to be in that place where my human need of wanting to be able to recognise who it was and what they stood for and which spirit I was working with was holding me back. So I hope that helps. It's amazing, and I love that you manifested a red sock. That is just fantastic. The other day when I was lying in bed, when I was really ill and feverish, I could hear a flapping noise in my bedroom, and I put my head out the like lifted my head up and opened my eyes and had a look, and there was a butterfly in my bedroom, and I thought, oh, how lovely. I asked Spirit for a sign, and they have brought me a sign. They've brought me a butterfly. But I don't like things flying too close to my face. I don't actually mind bees and wasps, but butterflies with their big flippy floppy wings, I like them over there. I think they're very beautiful, but at least 1 metre away, please. And it must have been Spirit having a laugh, because it flapped right over and like landed in my head, flapping in the front of my hair where my fringe would be if I had one. And I was like, ah! And I pulled my head under the cover, and I could hear its wings. It was so loud. And I thought, wow, Spirit World must be there going, she asked us for a sign, and we brought her a butterfly, and now she's squealing and hiding under the covers. Ridiculous. And when I came back out, the butterfly had gone, thank goodness, because I was too dizzy and weak to be able to get a glass to set it free, and I was panicking. But yeah, a sock would be lovely. And obviously I know that sock has significance to you and meaning to you. And if you can flip it, one of the things Spirit are just saying to me is that it can be very comforting to know that you are not limited by just your loved ones in the spirit world. For some people listening to this, they haven't got great relationships with people in the spirit world. So for some of us, it's actually really lovely and preferable to know that there is more than just our loved ones watching over us, guiding us, taking care of us, keeping an eye on us. So it completely depends on how you feel. But what I would say is just allow yourself to choose to believe how you want to believe at this time. Don't force yourself into a pigeonhole just because I've said it or because you've read it online or anything like that. Just say, okay, I know there's more I need to understand right now, but I'm not quite there yet, and that's okay. I'm going to choose to believe that my brother sent me that sock, and that's going to bring me comfort. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In fact, I think if we all did that a little bit more, we'd all have a much nicer, better, freer journey. It's a bit like Kim's question at the start of this podcast. I can't quite fully answer it the way that I'd like to. And I'm not going to hide from it, and I'm not going to not talk about it on the podcast, because I'd prefer to be able to be, you know, this is the answer, boom, boom, boom. Sometimes you just have to accept that you're trying to find your way into the answer, but right now the best answer you can give is the best answer you can give, and that's all you can do. And it's always, I think, the spiritual journey, finding the balance between that, wanting to know more, accepting you've barely scratched the surface in your knowledge and your understanding. There is so much out there to learn, versus, but it can't be forced. And it's not like working your way through a textbook. You have to evolve with it. You have to grow with it. You have to integrate it. You don't just understand it because someone's saying the words. You will hear the words that I'm speaking in this podcast, and hopefully it's working like this for all of you. Certain bits of it you might disagree with. Certain bits of it you might agree with. Certain bits will get stuck in your thinking bits, and you'll be chewing them over, and they'll keep coming up, and they'll keep coming up. And then an experience will happen in your life which will give you the clarity of it, the understanding of it. And that is the way that it should be for everybody in the spiritual journey. I can't just give you the list and go, there you go. You have to kind of experience it and know it and feel it. And sometimes part of that experience is just being brave enough and strong enough. And I do think it is about bravery, because it's vulnerability. The vulnerability of saying, I'm not really sure where that red sock came from, but I'm going to choose to believe it came from my brother, and I'm going to say thank you to him, and I'm going to feel good about it. And I manifested that with the help of my brother. How wonderful. Isn't he clever? Maybe I should work on a winning lottery ticket. But you know what I mean. So there we go. I hope that all makes sense. And sorry today's podcast is late. I'm trying to release them for 9 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays UK time, but obviously the spirit world are wanting me to let go of all my plans and decisions about how things are going to be yet again. And so I'm back on the naughty step. But I will catch up with you all soon, and please don't forget to check out those courses because I would love to have you guys with me on the website hannahmedium.co.uk. Have a great day.